It's hard on the black man in America. Remember LeBron James? And he got $1 million home.
Yeah, I believe it was a $364
in Brentwood. I can't even afford to drive through Brentwood. Happy Father's Day again to everybody, all right? So what I want to do is, I would never be able to say Jerod's last name.
Zavistoski.
See, I told you.
Polish.
So Jerod, tell us about you, a little bit about you, what you're doing, and all the good stuff.
I'm the author of Methodology of the Modern Male. I had a radio show on LA Talk Radio for 2 years called Modern Male Radio. We eventually moved to Playboy. I decided that I didn't want to do radio anymore, and now I'm doing online videos on just very, very specific issues in sort of a comedic style, and the response has been great. I'm a dating coach and a life coach. I had a really f***ed up childhood, and I swear a lot, but again, I can go into why I think censorship is retarded and all of that as well. I went through 5 high schools. I had 3 felonies by the time I was 15. I got kicked out of everything that I've ever tried. I was told again and again and again that I would never make it, that I was never going to be, that I was never going to be functional enough to work at Pizza Hut. And the last thing that my psychiatrist said to me on the day I left was that I would never write a book, and I dedicated that one to that motherfucker. So,
we can tell you're not a Christian.
I studied to be a pastor when I was 17 years old.
You did?
It's how I got off medication. I believed that God would heal me, and I got off meds in the name of Jesus. And I went on one of the biggest manic cycles I've ever been on. And I was on fire for the Holy Spirit. I was over there knocking down doors, being, be healed, you know, I was very passionate about it. And I realized that, you know, I am speaking to a predominantly Christian audience, yes? Yes, everybody in here is a Christian.
Somewhat.
So for me, there were some things that you know, once I dug down in there, they just didn't agree, and I had to leave that behind. I feel like there are a lot of good things with Christianity. A lot of people are able to take that and utilize that for good. A lot of people need that. I want to make sure that everybody feels, you know, included, and like, I'm not the enemy. I'm not the fucking evil guy up here going, I don't believe in that. But
so let me ask.
Yeah.
Are you going to be cursing through this whole thing?
I can tone it back if you would like.
Please. Cody, tell them about yourself. Cody Rutland.
My name is Cody Rutland. I am a business owner, an entrepreneur, and a member of a fraternity called the Proud Boys. That is a Western chauvinist organization, and our goal is to take men and make them men. That's our entire goal.
And how are you doing that?
By telling them that it's okay, it's all right to be an alpha. They're going to call you names, and the feminists are going to attack you. They're going to tell you you're a sexist and a misogynist. There's a point where it's beating us down.
Yeah.
We're afraid to speak. We're afraid to ask questions, and that's the biggest thing. Is nobody asks questions anymore. They're too afraid of the outcome of just asking a question rather than the actual answer.
What is the state of the millennial men?
For a long time, I thought it was unrepairable. I'm a millennial myself. I'm 29 years old.
Oh, okay.
I know, right? I look terrible for 29. But I thought it was one of those things that wasn't going to be able to fix. I thought it was a lost cause until I found the Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Seriously. And I saw how fast it spread and how many men out there, and millennial men were out there that said, you guys are exactly what I've been looking for. I've been in this, what I call the conservative closet, or this political correctness closet. I've been hiding. And we finally went out there and said, hey, this is what we are, this is what we stand for. We're not going to apologize for anything. If you don't like it, I mean, you're going to sleep with that at night. I'm not, you know, so.
And what do you say about that? First of all, do you believe there is a God or no God?
I believe that it's possible.
It's possible? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really about belief for me, it's about evidence. So I am a pastor, actually. I am a certified pastor.
Ah.
So like, I have a certification and everything. I went a little too deep into that, into the original Greek Hebrew text, all of the stuff that was really being said, what it really meant, all of the ways that people are really kind of screwing it up, like they're screwing the world up right now. Like religion is kind of a micro example of what's happening on a macro scale right now. There's over 2,000 versions of just Christianity alone, you know, and all of these different things, and now people want to interpret it all of a sudden the internet came out, boom. So now everyone's globally connected. Now everyone's comfort zones are out on display. Everyone's culture is out on display. So we can no longer hide in these cultural pockets, these cultural closets, and be who we are, because now it's all on display. So what we're experiencing right now is like a mass socialization.
Yeah.
Like the entire world is socializing at once in unison, and it's crazy.
What is the state of the millennial men?
The millennial man is the man who grew up with this technological revolution. I mean, we've always had technology, and that's always been great. Like, that's always been cool. But for the first time, our technology has connected us in the way we think and the way we communicate. And we went from tribes to bigger tribes to, you know, big cities. But even that, we had tribes. That's how man functioned. And all of a sudden, we have all the information available to us. We have all the options in the world available to us. You can go on your phone right now and you can go swipe, 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 swipe. Oh, I got her. Oh, that's great. You lose her tomorrow? Doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I don't have to put in any effort. I can go get another one.
Exactly.
I can go get another one. And so this is kind of what society is like.
Yeah.
And what sucks is that it's like we can talk about it morally all day long. You could be like, oh, that's bad. We shouldn't have it like that. That's bad, right? But says who, right? We just grew up a certain way and it worked very functionally until this one thing came in and exploded it. But it's not really a moral argument. And if you focus on the morality of it, you will fail, because it's happening and it's growing. And if you don't take the opportunity to learn it now, it's going to surpass you. And that's where you see a lot. That's why a lot of older men lost their jobs and stuff when this technological revolution happened. A lot of men got left behind, and they're going, this wasn't important. This isn't logical or functional to my survival, right? And then that's how men operate. We're survival based. Yeah. It is about, if this does not make my life better, screw it. Sorry, screw it. Get it out. Doesn't matter, right?
You need Jesus. Cody, what do you say about what he's saying?
I believe it's true, and that's a major part of my standpoint on things. Is we don't court women anymore. We don't teach young men to court a girl. We don't teach them to open the door. We have a culture now that. Everything's instant gratification. It's decadence. It's whenever you want it, whatever you need, whatever. Not even what you need, just whatever you want. Always there, at a snap of a finger. Like you're saying, I mean, there's apps where it's pretty much ordering a girlfriend, right? As easy as ordering a pizza to your house. And it's unbelievable what it's doing to society. And in my opinion, I feel stuff like that is what is giving these third wave feminists the ammunition to attack men. Because we don't all believe in that. I'm married. I don't watch adult films. I'm not a lustful person. So with what he's saying, it's true. Everything is global now. You know, we're putting everything out there so that it's easily accessible. Yeah. And it's affecting small communities. It's affecting small cultures. It's affecting the way we interact with each other.
Define feminism for me.
All right, so feminism was this process where these women came up and they said, hey, we want the ability to do what men have the option to do, right? If a man says, I want to be this, I want to do this, we can do it because we're men. We can do it. Women were like, I want to be able to do that too. I would like the option. Maybe not all of them wanted to do it. Maybe one of them really wanted to do it. And maybe there was a bunch around them that were just being supportive. Like, yeah, we should be able to do this. We should all be able to do this, right? But the fact stands that there were a lot of things that women weren't able to do. And they weren't being given freedoms because we said, oh, men do that. Just because men traditionally did it, just because men were better at it, just because doesn't mean that somebody's right to be able to do it should be taken away. And then you had another part of that was that men were, we kind of always focus on what is necessary. And like, women want to communicate, they want to talk about the little stuff, this and that and the other. Well, men are kind of like almost as a byproduct of being a male, you're an oppressive being, right? And a lot of the social justice is kind of pushing that, and they're saying like, men are oppressive. You as a male, like iron sharpens iron. This is what we did this for years and years and years and years and years. Pushing yourself against other people is what created excellence. It's what created innovation. It's what created a lot of the technological stuff that we're seeing right now. So and you'll see this when we enacted No Child Left Behind, right? We created all the grades so nobody's left behind and everybody gets a participation trophy. What happened to our students? They became dumb as crap. They're dumb. Our kids are stupid. And it's because our education system failed them. That we didn't create that iron sharpens iron competitive, we call it male doministic society. But that really got us to where we are today, and we shouldn't forget that, right? And now all of a sudden, feminism is going, hey, let's throw it out. We don't want it anymore. And men are going, okay, well, we want to be fair. Like we want you to have, that's why we ask you where you want to go to eat. We're like, we want to know where you want to go. And women are like, no, if you don't know where we're taking me, I'm not going on a date with you, right? we care about you. We want to make sure that you're fed. So
should a man ask a woman where she want to eat, or should he just take her there?
Traditionally, nowadays, I mean, you never know. You could. Most women would agree that you say yes, and you just take her wherever the hell you want to go. But you could land on a social justice landmine and get one of those angry feminists that's like, you're just gonna decide where we're gonna eat. I'm allergic to that.
I'm a vegan.
Yeah.
I can't believe you brought me to a steakhouse.
Gluten, right? So, like women wanted these freedoms, right? And what they did is they broke this whole thing open and they said, hey, this is what we want. But they were never really definitive about what they wanted exactly.
Cody, let me ask with Proud Boys, and I had Cody on my radio show, and we talked about this. Are you guys trying to get men to be men so that they can deal with women in the right way, or to just leave women alone?
No, we're trying to get men to actually interact with women. That's a huge problem. Is we have movements like MGTOW, men going their own way, where they've completely sworn off women. They're like, it ain't even. That's uncharted territory. I'm not trying to deal with.
MGTOW.
We want men to get off of the couch, get off the computer, stop watching adult films on the internet, go out there and talk to a woman.
Yeah,
it is scary. I'm not gonna lie, it's scary.
Why is it scary?
I mean, look at it now. I mean, no matter what you say, you're a sexist, you're a misogynist. I mean, even opening the door for a lady. I could do it myself. I don't need you to do that for me. I'm an independent woman. Oh, sorry, I was just trying to be polite, you know?
Yeah.
We're in a phase right now where things are so taboo and completely upside down is really the only way I can say it. I mean, right is left, left is right, black is white. The goalpost is always being moved. There's no really definitive, this is what we are, when you're trying to debate these people, or even try to figure out what they are. I mean, look, they just added like, what it was, E equals MC squared to the LGBT thing, adding all these numbers and all this. I can't keep up with it. You can't keep up with it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, how are you supposed to ever come to a conclusion with a group of people that are consistently changing their ideology? It's impossible.
To both of you, are men today worse off than their fathers?
Depends on how you look at it, really. I mean, we don't have to go out with swords and scavenge for food and like stab each other if we don't like each other. Like,
But was that so bad, man?
I don't know.
Look at it now. It's kind of scary.
I think we romanticize the idea of kind of how the past was sometimes.
Yeah.
And we think about
nostalgia.
Yeah, we're like, yeah, we were conquerors. It was dope. You know, if I wanted that, I could just take it. But then really, like, so being kind of, you know, in this thought leader circuit, I've dealt with a lot of like hate mail and stalkers and like crazy stuff. And you know, I'm a red-blooded American. Like I know my rights, and I can protect myself and all that stuff. But there's nothing worse in the world than like looking over your shoulder and thinking like, oh, that person might actually come blow up my house like he said he was going to, or that person might come shoot up my radio show like he said he was going to.
Join the Proud Boys, bro. We got Antifa on our tail everywhere we go.
That's right. That's right.
We go anywhere. We go to have a sandwich, and they're like, you see what they're doing is they're plotting this giant Nazi movement, and they're unfreezing all the Nazis, and that's why they go to Subway. So let's boycott Subway and follow all the Proud Boys around and attack them.
You're right. Do you have fear? I noticed that most men today have fear. They're afraid to speak up in certain situations about certain issues, and to me, that's abnormal. Do you have fear?
Do I have fear? Yeah, I mean, everybody has fear. I
You
don't care
have-
who you are, what you say. I mean, we operate out of two places, fear or love, right? We're kind of always oscillating between the two. And I don't care who you are. Like, everybody operates out of fear. Fear is what kept us alive for millions of years. Or if you believe, you know, in Christianity in terms of that, it's you know, last 10,000 years. You know, fear is what keeps us alive. It's what keeps us sharp. It's what keeps us motivated.
So you have fear.
Everyone does.
How about you, Cody?
Of course, yeah.
You have fear.
I don't have a crippling fear that keeps me from living my life. I did have that fear for a while.
What caused that?
This organization that I joined, because I realized it gave me a view into something you don't experience until you're there, which was being called a racist. No matter what I say, no matter what I do,
You're
Nothing.
afraid of being called a racist?
No.
Not anymore?
No, I don't care.
Oh, okay.
What is racist? What does it even mean?
Right.
Right?
That's
Please
right.
tell me what it
Yeah.
means. If somebody tells me what it means,
Yeah. So you're not afraid of being called a racist?
No.
Are you afraid of being called homophobic?
no.
How about Islamophobic?
No, definitely not.
How about you? Are you afraid of being called racist?
I would say yes, and I would really, it scares me to think that anyone, right now with the social justice the way it is, somebody can label you a witch, and then you're a witch, and then all of a sudden, what these people did is they were angry about so many different things, and they spent a long time putting themselves in positions where they have the biggest mouthpiece, where they have these vocal platforms, building these social media things, and they all kind of gang up, they all bully. Right? So now, whereas one person could be like, oh, you're racist, homophobic, whatever, I'd be like, you're an ignorant retard. But now there's 50 of them, 80 of them, 90 of them, and everyone's too scared to stand up to them like you are. Like a lot of people are too scared to do that.
That only came about because of your fear.
It was because of capitulation, and that's a huge problem. The celebrity who makes a comment that's offensive and then goes on record and says, I just want to apologize to my fans who I hurt and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Guess what you did?
Yeah.
You gave them power.
That's right.
You gave them
That's right.
absolute power, and
That's
they can
right.
do whatever they want with you now. They're going to do it regardless. They'll nitpick anything.
Right.
I mean, one of the actors recently had said, you're going to really want to hear this, turn it up. He got attacked by a social justice warrior because you weren't inclusive to the people who are hard of hearing. So the guy goes around and makes an apology video in sign language.
Yeah.
I'm like, when does it end? When does it ever end?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
And the
And so-
fear is there because we allow them.
How did you overcome your fear?
I went out and just became vocal.
Yeah.
I went on my social media. I own a business, so it's touchy, especially with the whole shift in politics and how it really divided a lot of people.
Yeah.
Everybody knows in business you got to keep good, relations with your clients and with the public because you represent your product.
Right.
I still do a good product. I still have good relations with my clients. But I've said, you know what? Why am I not allowed to think? Why? Because I own a business. Why am I not allowed to ask a question?
Yeah.
Or say, hey, I think housewives are cool. How come nobody talks about housewives?
Right.
Why is it all these hairy armpit chicks with purple hair that get to yell and scream and throw feces and urine at people, and somehow they're the revolutionaries? What about the women that are molding lives that are going to create cures for cancer? Why don't they get a voice?
And so how did you overcome your fear?
I joined the Proud Boys. It sounds cliche.
Really?
But I saw that I wasn't alone, right?
I see.
I wasn't alone. My wife knows who I am. My wife is very, very aware of how I think. And it's surprising because when I met her, she was a Bernie supporter. She was this, that, environmentalist, blah, blah, blah. She was really left-wing. And I'm not going to say I was always, on the conservative side of things. I was always, in a sense, classical, liberal, libertarian. If it didn't affect me, I don't care what you do.
Right.
But as I started realizing, to a certain extent, not caring about the what other people do does have a detrimental effect on everybody in their surroundings. I mean, when does it end? If we say, oh, just do whatever you want, how do we know that we can protect the people around?
Do you agree with Jerod that everyone has fear?
Yeah.
You agree?
Oh, yeah.
But you don't have it now.
I'm not going to say I don't have it, but I don't let it affect the way that I spend my days. You can't. You'll never get to where you want to be.
So you still have it somewhat, it just doesn't control you?
Yeah, it doesn't control me. I'll deal with it later. I figured out I'll say what I got to say, and I'll turn my phone off.
Yeah, and I don't
I'll
have
turn my
it.
phone off for a while.
I
So
just
how did-
started the social justice
How-
brand. So like what he's saying, fear paralyzed me for a while, especially with a lot of the social justice stuff. What was right, what was wrong. And I just kind of made the decision to move past that recently, where it was like, okay, I don't really care what people,
Right.
but I
But
didn't.
it does have an effect, especially as a business
Yeah.
owner. I've lost
Yeah.
tons of money. I've lost a lot of money since
Yeah.
I decided to be vocal. And even my wife's like, hey, maybe you can tone it down a little bit. We still got bills to pay and we got 4 mouths to feed. Maybe just
Right.
calm it down a little.
Which do you care more about, what's right or what would be taken away from you for telling the truth? Jerod.
Obviously what's right. I mean, you can't take anything. The worst thing that you can take from somebody is something that you take from yourself. That's your integrity. and not living up to your greatest self and not saying how you really feel or doing what you believe. So I think that, you know, doing what's right is always, what's right to you is always going to be the most.
But then if you care about what's right more than you do material things or what people would think, why do you have fear?
That's a good question. Because I think you operate. I think I was operating at that time from a place of, I wasn't operating from a place of complete and total alignment with who I am and how I was as a brand. And I think that I was afraid of saying things because I hadn't fully formulated them out. I hadn't fully explored exactly what it was, or, you know, this whole social justice thing, I didn't kind of realize it was going on. I was just kind of saying things, and I'm like, what is this? And there's all kind of attacking happening online, and it took me a while to discover the speakers that were going to open my eyes and like really kind of weigh both sides of what was going on. I was identified as just a Democrat, just a liberal, whatever. Just all of this stuff happened, and of course you're gonna stop and you're gonna look around and go, okay, what is going on? Why are people so angry? What is Antifa? And that's fear, you know, that's a little bit of paralyzed, okay? It's like something, you know, I slam my hand in the door. Oh, okay, what am I doing wrong? What? And then as you understand something, you move forward. I think saying that, oh, I'm fearless, that's ignorant. Right. Saying, I'm fearless and I'm just gonna say what I feel and do what I'm gonna learn about the situation, I'm gonna understand it, I'm gonna assimilate it, I'm gonna figure out how it works with what I'm aligned with, or like what my value structure is.
Not to have fear controls the way you deal with issues in life. You don't just go crazy and say, you know, anything and do anything. But it's like a foundation under your feet, so you see an issue and you deal with it accordingly. You don't back down. And if you have fear, that prevents you from doing that because you're going to think about the outcome before you even speak.
Yeah.
Whereas if you don't have fear, you don't think about that because you're on the side of what is right.
So
yeah.
Let me also say that I actually teach guys how to deal with fear. Like as a motivational life coach and as a dating coach, I take guys out and actually teach them how to talk to women when they're like, you know, they're getting that adrenaline dump and they're scared and their throat's seizing up and they're really socially, and you know, if I walk up and I say as a coach, I'm like, yeah, I don't get afraid anymore, I don't get awkward. That guy, he's never going to be able to relate to that.
He won't believe you.
Yeah.
Because he's so crippled by his fear.
He's like, how?
Impossible.
And then he doesn't think that he can ever learn it. He's going, you just don't have fear. No, I have fear. Every day something comes into my life and I deal with it and I override it and I challenge it, I face it, I steer into it. And you get better and better at identifying fear. Then the things that scare you get bigger and bigger and bigger, but you just keep doing that, right? You conquer bigger goals and bigger obstacles, you know?
That's amazing. I can't see myself going to a man or woman, but especially a man and saying, you know, I have fear, how to overcome it. And you tell me, well, I have it too. You're not going to be able to help me to overcome it.
Well, I think more or less what he's saying is it's a natural emotion to feel, but as I'm saying as well, is I don't let it dictate me. It's a natural emotion. I mean, I really can't control if somebody walks up and pulls a 45 and puts it to my forehead. Like, I'm not going to say,
well, I don't mean like,
wait a minute.
I mean fear of doing what's right. I'm not talking about physical fear of someone coming. Fear of speaking up, fear of standing up as a man. Mm-hmm. Let me do this because I will get some questions in. Mm-hmm. What do men want from women?
Man, that is a loaded question.
There's so many answers.
In what sense? In general?
Period.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll be honest. You wanted honesty? I don't know.
No,
I want me personally, I can't say what all men want. I want a healthy relationship. I want to be able to communicate. I want to be able to take Sunday off, you know, and be able to hang out with the boys, crack a cold one with the boys or something, you know. I want to be able to not feel like every second of every day I need to make up for the wrongdoings that men have done to women in the past that technically have nothing to do with me. I didn't do that. I didn't do those things. I want to be able to be free of that.
What do men want from women?
I think that men just want to be loved and to give love and to receive love unencumbered of things like you were talking about. Fear is a big one, and women operate from a long time. They operate from a place of fear, and a lot of the things that they do and they socialize are, in a way, their process of manipulation in order to keep men attached. And we have things like okay, so the bonding chemical, we talked about that earlier, right? Oxytocin, that's what love is, right? Love is a chemical that you get it with anyone, like, and there's proof to this. You don't have to, like, there's a condition where if you're abducted by somebody, you actually start to love them. As the
Stockholm syndrome.
The captor said, yeah. So that right there proves that the chemical bonding of oxytocin will override almost anything. If you spend enough time with a person, you start to love them. You'll start to appreciate them.
Well, that comes from hate, right?
You start to bond them.
You develop a love-hate relationship with them.
You hate them because they're evil and
Right.
they're your captor, and
now
that's
you
just
love
a
them.
normal reaction. You love them, you love
It's a
them.
defense mechanism.
What it is
But that's
it's
not real love, though.
No, you can't. It's an uncontrollable thing. If you spend time with a person, your body starts bonding. Your brain starts bonding with them. Oxytocin creates bonding. That's why,
Didn't work with my ex-wife, man.
Well, in that case, the compatibility issues outweighed the bonding. But why it was difficult in the first place
So
to
if
even
I hang out with
separate.
Cody every day, will I start to love him?
As
You know it.
a human, yeah.
I'm good company, man.
You've also got development, though. So you've got, like, when you're younger, right? You grew up with your brother. You might hate your brother. You might be completely incompatible as humans. You would never be friends. But because so many milestones and so many emotional things took place throughout your life, you've gotten, smaller and greater dumps of oxytocin. So you're bonded to this person in such a familiar way that you just can't help but love them. So same thing with captor syndrome or Stockholm syndrome.
So let me ask, and then I'll take some questions, guys. If it wasn't for sex, would men have anything to do with women?
If it wasn't for testosterone.
I think so.
What would they want to do with them?
I mean, there's still parts of man that wonder what's in that vast ocean of the female psyche. Like, why do you guys think the way you think? Why do you do some of the stuff you do? Why is it that we're the problem for everything? How about we talk about this? But it is a driving factor. And I feel like, and it's not just necessarily, in my opinion, the physical act. It's the genetic makeup that's encoded in our DNA to procreate, to reproduce.
Right.
It's a natural instinct, and we've have these genetic codes built up in our body to find somebody that we see as attractive, and we find them attractive for a reason because that's somebody I can breed with. That's somebody I can procreate with.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you say? If it wasn't for sex, would men want to deal with women at all?
I don't know. I think that you'd want to look at civilizations that had eunuchs.
If it wasn't for sex, would you want anything to do with a woman?
Me personally, yes, I love women.
What do you love about them?
I love the way. Look, I was raised by a single mother, and my mom was incredibly strong. And sometimes I think women can be very funny. I think sometimes women can be very caring and amazing. I think that I love women. I love women as women. Like, I love them as the sometimes crazy, sometimes moody, sometimes illogical creatures that they are. And I love all of the great things that they've done and all
So
of
you
the.
love the craziness of the woman?
To me, it's very fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
It's
delve into
entertaining.
that psyche, why do you think that way?
It's
Were
like a
you
cat.
raised by a single mother too?
I was.
Oh,
My
no
father died when I
wonder.
was 2 years old, and
You guys been traumatized.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Because if you go back to the Garden of Eden, all Adam really had to do was tell Eve to put that fruit down.
Right.
That is the relationship of the Father, the Son, Jesus Christ, then the man that's ahead of the woman ahead of the children. So that's what I see that men want from women is obedience, because once they do that and they're obedient to what is right in the order of God's creation, then we can have that peace on earth.
Yeah, I
So
can see
you
that.
think women should be slaves then? They should do.
So what?
You think women should be slaves then?
No.
How
Obedience.
did
You
you
do
get
what I tell you to do,
Yeah.
right?
No, I wouldn't say it's
being
a.
obedient in the order of God's creation, that does not make her a slave.
And what's wrong with being a slave? Anybody else? No? Oh, yeah.
They're working together, but ultimately the man gets the lion's share of the loyalty and respect.
Yeah. So why would you think slave? That's so feminine.
Can I address this question?
Yeah.
So out the gate, you're basing this off of Christian argument, right? It doesn't work without that. So we have to already establish that, okay, God exists, right? And we can't establish that God exists. We can establish that you believe that God exists. We can't establish that God exists. Okay, so, but from here, what you're talking about is a very classical patriarchal society. It's a patriarchal model, which worked. It worked for a long time. It was a very functional thing. It's great. I'm not saying that, and when I said, oh, you want women to be slaves, it's kind of a joke, because in a lot of respects, the reason that patriarchy worked is because men were responsible for survival. It's all we care about. It's all we've ever cared about. We get rid of anything that's non-functional. We even shorten our own language patterns. When you get two best friends that hang around each other, they'll speak less and less and less as time goes on, because they know how to communicate with looks now. It's how men are. We disregard anything that is unfunctional, right? When it came to survival, we couldn't deal with all of this identity politics stuff that when women want to talk about this, they want to talk about that. No, it was like, look, you go over there, I'm going to go make sure that we eat, okay? And it's understandable. It makes for a society that's going to function. But let's take that to a slight extreme. I mean, the Old Testament is not too much different from the Quran. And let's take that to now Muslims and their kind of extreme example and how they treat their women and how these women are covered up and they're told this is what you do, and if you don't do this right, we're going to stone you, we're going to kill you.
We got a 2.0, man.
Let me ask you something. You heard of Black Lives Matter, right?
Absolutely.
What's your impression of them?
I think that Black Lives Matter, I understand what they were trying to do and say that, and I think that when people say, oh, all lives matter, I understand where they get upset with that, saying that that's a cop-out.
What were they trying to do? The
specific issue is that police need to stop killing black people over white people, and they were highlighting a bunch of examples where that was happening. I think that Black Lives Matter has since then become, in a lot of respects, a very hateful group. I think that human beings have always been fighters, and we don't really have anything to fight right now. We don't have some national cause or something that we're all rallying against. We're all kind of,
bro. Go to Berkeley.
Right.
Let me do this because
But we're fighting each other now. And
we're running out of time. Cody,
Oh, sorry.
what do you think about, in a few words, what do you think about Black Lives Matter?
I think it's ruining the black community personally. I can't sit here and tell anybody in the black community how to feel, how to think. We have different cultural
But why can't you
backgrounds.
tell them exactly what you would tell your own family members?
Because I don't think somebody that grew up in a black family could come up and tell me how I grew up, say if I was from Sweden, right?
Why
Because
can't you
I've
just
never
say
seen
Black
that.
Lives Matter, you're lying?
I do.
I do.
No, I do. That's the point I'm trying to make. Maybe I'm not making it clear,
Oh,
but
okay.
there isn't, I don't believe there's this system in today's society that is set out to guarantee that somebody's going to fail because of the color of their skin.
So I need you guys to give me the last word. I've been told we're out of time, so close it out. We'll start with you first, Cody.
Personally, my main goal here today is to promote the fraternity that I'm a part of, and it's the Proud Boys. We are an international organization and a fraternity. We have a lot of chapters. We have a great chapter in LA, and we have a member here who, if you have any questions, feel free to talk to him because he's kind of one of the guys who helps run and organize all the events in Los Angeles. We had a really great meetup last night. I live in the Bay Area, so I'm not down here often. But a quick Google search or a quick Facebook search, and you can find a local chapter. It'll change your life, guys.
All right. Yeah, I'm Jerod Zavistoski. You can find me at jerodz.com, or you can find me on Facebook you can just type in JERODZ, you'll find me. Yeah, I'm going into a direction where we're going to be challenging a lot of this stuff. We're going to be really finding the humor in all of this. And I make funny videos on advice on what people should do, what they shouldn't do, and kind of the why and how everything came about. So if you guys want to check that out, awesome. If not, I totally understand. Really. I will say this though, when I was a Christian, I was a hypocritical a-hole. I don't think that, I'm not saying that that's how Christians are. That's how I was as a Christian. I interpreted it as, this is this is God, and I believe in God, and if you don't believe in God, then you're bad, and you're this, and you're that, and I was very ignorant and bullheaded. And once I became an atheist and I accepted the idea that we could, this could be it, it actually strengthened my compassion for my fellow man, and it made me love individual humans and accept them for what they are, and really kind of understand the concept of unconditional love for me. So I'm not saying that if that's the only way to do that, but
so you're a better atheist than you were a Christian.
Yes. I was a better human as an atheist than I was as a Christian.
Let me just say, we got a call from your Jerod's agent just before the event, and he lost his voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Your voice was going away.
It was gone yesterday.
Yeah, they're like, do you still want him to come? We're like, yes. So I really appreciate you coming in spite of that.
Thank you for having me.
When is your book coming out?
It's out.
It's out already.
You can get it
Okay.
on Amazon.
We'll get you on the radio show too.
Great.
But you
Great.
can't curse.
I will not curse.
You little,
I slipped. I said
You
the
little
S word
atheist.
once.
FCC compliant. FCC compliant.